Industry experts from Powerhouse Brands. Earned Summit, Building a Community by Tribe Dynamics.
Make you proud.
I'm going to be a rated rookie on this.
See that recording in top. That might mean we're underway here.
I think so, right? What did she say?
I thought she had some housekeeping issues to take care of, but it might be that we're on.
Well, we can introduce ourselves, I guess.
All right, let's go. Do you want to start?
Why don't you start? You're the man.
I'll start. My name is Quincy. I'm a banker, which is another word for Labrador Retriever, and I'm the least relevant in this. We are on. I am honored to present to you all Brian Sugar, co-founder, founder 7, entrepreneur, investor, and general Silicon Valley hanger-oner. I've known Brian for many, many years. I've worked with him for more than 4. And what you get to know in this audience right now is that we're also fathers of 2 daughters who are best friends, and probably right now in a room upstairs from Brian and downstairs from me working on a new invention, something probably called, I'll go with Fort Talk or Tick Night, but somewhere in all the apps that they're playing with each other, they're having a good time together. Brian, it's a pleasure to have you. I'm going to give you the softball first because I know that's around the formulation of what this is all about. And I want to make sure we make your audience proud, and thank you guys for having us. You are a profitable company. It was widely known that you flexed it. You were good with it as just POPSUGAR on a standalone. Why in the world would you spend time with an investment banker, or anyone for that matter, and go out and do a strategic review and then ultimately wind up merging with another private company, i.e. no sense of liquidity in the meantime, when all the other opportunities were there for you? Of course, most importantly, stay it alone, go it alone, grow organically, keep your head down and keep generating great content that POPSUGAR's come to be known for. Why do the deal?
We have a really long-term view on digital media, and it was clear to us back in 2018 that the word EBITDA would be one that was going to be used frequently. I actually officially changed my title back then from Chief Executive Officer to Chief EBITDA Officer. And I knew that if we were able to show us being a profitable media business, we would be able to choose from a position of strength how we would merge or consolidate with other awesome media companies out there. We spoke to all of God's children out there, Quincy, you know that, everybody. And I've known Ben Lear for over 10 years, and we have a terrific relationship. And given the fact that Group 9 had such a fantastic relationship with Discovery and what POPSUGAR was bringing to the table, it was very clear to me that this was the right move. They had a playbook around digital video. They're one of the largest video creators on the planet for, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok, et al. And we have always been on the side of content and commerce, driving a lot of our users through action to buy stuff. So we have an apparel line with POPSUGAR. We have a beauty line. We have a big events business called POPSUGAR Playground. And we knew that we'd be able to play the Group 9 playbook on POPSUGAR, and we'd be able to play the POPSUGAR playbook on Group 9. And I'll tell you, we closed that transaction right before Thanksgiving. We went through integration, and I've been through many of these on either side, and it's been amazingly smooth and super impressive. And I'll tell you, once this whole COVID hit, I felt that our management teams, our combined entity, was well trained and already working together to combat this. We are even more from a position of strength now together. And we'll talk about this a little bit further in our discussion, but we are actively searching for other companies to put inside of our portfolio.
You just give me the tee up for that next question then. So now you do it, you merge, you've got a day job, of course, as president. You're out there selling, building product. A lot of people don't know this, but you code. It's actually demonstrated quite well on a lot of your social media that you use. And I know that you're actually one of the few people who like to fly, back when we get to fly again, east to west or west to east during the day, so you can actually get work done. And you really mean it when you say that, as opposed to most who get to watch movies a lot, or maybe that's just me. So you're in this new position. you got a day job, you're working on it, but what does that mean for the strategic side of your head? Does that mean that the pro forma combined POPSUGAR Group 9 is Stacent is really just thinking about what to do with their core business, or are you actively looking? And if so, what categories do you find to be the most interesting for you in the space, and why?
Yeah, we are actively searching. We have a group of us attacking sort of the M&A landscape right now, given everything that's going on. Our corporate strategy really falls into three pillars. The first one is called consolidation. We're looking across different categories that we are not big in, things like home and food and crime and some other categories. We're looking for properties that, under $100 million in revenue, haven't gotten necessarily to profitability, but we, through a merger, could put them on our platform and take advantage of our back office or sales teams, et cetera. Much like what we did with the POPSUGAR Group 9 merger, that's kind of pillar number one. Pillar number two falls into the direct-to-consumer space. Like I said earlier, big proponent of content to commerce with our apparel brand and our beauty brand. We're looking for extending the dodo right now, looking for some key acquisition targets or corporate development partnerships that we can do in the pet land. We recently announced a huge program for a dodo pet insurance, which we think is going to be very lucrative. So we're definitely looking through that as well. And the third pillar is we're looking for, we are constantly selling to brands and agencies, and when we look at share of dollars from the agency and brands, we look at other places where they're spending money. And I've been spending a lot of time looking at a whole bunch of different influencer marketing companies. I think that's super interesting for something that we could do. Also looking further in the event space, there's a lot of businesses that have now gone into sort of a skeleton crew as they wait out this COVID situation. And I think there's some interesting targets for us to partner with on that as well. So we are actively open for business and speaking with tons of companies on a weekly basis.
I love about you is that's a pretty unique approach. Most people, as you know, when they do these kind of things, lay low. They hate it if rumors get out that they're thinking about it. With you, I've never had that problem, because why wouldn't you look at things? It's kind of your fiduciary responsibility to see what's out there, particularly in the landscape in which you occupy. By the way, now's a good time to remind the audience, if you do have questions, I'm open to it. Let's keep it interactive. And to the extent you want to submit any, go for it and fire away. There's no such thing as a dumb one, particularly with Brian, who's always incredibly good with his time around it. So let's keep going though. You mentioned that space. You have a 40% owner thereabouts in Discovery. Tell me why they're not a big, old, dumb, slow media company and painful to work with, and an anchor that doesn't like you looking at anything. How does that dynamic work?
Well, I have some relevant experience here. Back before we started POPSUGAR, I sold my last startup eventually to AT&T, and I got to see AT&T and John Stankey sit around at our board, and I knew what a slow-moving company really, really looked like in the size of AT&T. Now at Group 9, when I'm at our board meetings, we have two members of the executive team over at Discovery that's sitting around the table, and they are leaning forward into all the conversations we have. They see us as sort of the forefront of their digital strategy. Every single corporate development deal that they're looking at, they send over to us if it has to deal with digital media. And we know that if we have a sizable acquisition that we want to do, we can go back to Discovery and they'll help us fund it and get that done.
All right, perfect. Let's switch gears from the regular bankier M&A question for 1 second. I'll do a quick byproduct. So since COVID-19 pandemic has hit, I've noticed you've been fairly innovative. Hopefully another softball for you, but talk to us with many entrepreneurs in the audience and many could be entrepreneurs also, as everyone should be. What are you doing since the pandemic hit that has been different for your business model that you think helps share in the community, and where you're proud of, that you want to make sure people are aware of in terms of new programs?
Yeah, we were going to launch a paid fitness service this week, actually on Friday, May 15th, for the weekend. And when the whole COVID thing happened, we got together, and within 10 days, we launched it, POPSUGAR Active. We launched it a couple of months early and for free. We launched Apple TV, Roku, iPhone, the website, and it has exploded in growth. We're now doing about 800 million video views a month now, up from about 100 million, and it's just exploding. I mean, the notes that we get in from everybody around the world, and it was, getting them in Italian when they were under lockdown in the beginning, just saying, wow, POPSUGAR Fitness is keeping us sane. Thank you for the workouts. We've now extended it so you can actually work out with a friend. So we sort of built a Zoom-like interface where on one side is the actual video that you're working out from, and then you see your actual friends. That's high usage. And now what we're doing is we're doing live workouts across all our social, and then it's archived up on active.popsugar.com. But some of the most famous celebrity trainers that are out there are now, working out on our platform. Another thing that we did on POPSUGAR is we gave a huge portion, since our viewership was massively up, we decided to give a portion of our inventory, advertising inventory, to female-led businesses. And that's been, a roaring success around some of the smaller folks out there that got, just free impressions across the board. Many things we're a very innovative company. The technology team now has essentially a hackathon every Friday where we're building and innovating on things that we're learning. We're just looking at data, understanding what people are doing in this new world, and creating things. Like the amount of people that are actually viewing our properties on desktop is back to like it's pre-iPhone days. It's quite amazing. So a lot of things in the works here, and I'd love a good plane flight to get a 5-hour straight coding session, but don't think that's going to happen in a while.
Hopefully between the governors, we'll figure it out. So in the meantime, I'll switch gears and go now from less of 100% equity ownership, but let's go down to investment. Investment is something that you, as a guy who spent all your lifetime and lifeblood and raised a family out in the booming Silicon Valley, you have a point of view on investments. You have a point of view on the entrepreneurs that are doing things. Rather than remain just laser focused on your day job, you always spend time among them, particularly the budding up and comers, and you're known as a very good angel investor out there. But now all of a sudden you launch this Sugar Capital. Why do you do it? How is it a complement as opposed to a conflict with what you're doing at Group 9? And how is it meant to, if you're an entrepreneur, be seen out there? And what's the ultimate game plan for you on that? And what do you think is the right kind of environment? Is now the best time to be starting something new?
So the last question, 100%, I think some of the world's best companies have started during, economic downturns. If you look at companies that were started, in 2008, 2009, just amazing companies. I love the fact that I have a day job in the media world, and now I'm launching my new consumer fund, really focusing on the e-commerce front. There's two types of businesses that we invest in. We invest in direct-to-consumer brands. I was one of the earliest investors in Everlane. I sit on the board there, looking for iconic brands that get started, and really taking advantage of, obviously, it used to be digital native brands that I would invest in. Now I'm looking at social native brands that are created in this social environment. And then I also invest in the technology companies around e-commerce. I'm an investor in Tribe Dynamics. I love Jonathan and Connor. They're super innovative. But constantly looking for businesses that attack the new direct-to-consumer brands and the technology that fuels it. But I'll tell you, during my day job and this job, my night and weekend jobs, I get to see all sorts of new trends and innovation that people are working on and bring it back to the mothership and say, wow, look at this new startup that's doing X, Y, and Z for setting up a shop for influencers or whatever it is. Is this something we should partner with? Maybe we should invest in it on a Group 9 level. It's a really fantastic way to keep abreast of all the new startup stuff's going on. Group 9 is a 750 person company. And, I like to hang out with the companies that are less than 6 and understand what they're thinking about in the future.
Got about 4 minutes left. We do have a couple of questions from the audience. So let me go to one right away because I know you are very passionate about it. What do you think about traditional and new media publishing relations and the major social networks? What's the game there? Do they become too reliant on your content? Do you become too reliant on their distribution? Or do you think there's a way for you to survive alongside of the Facebooks, the YouTubes, the Instagrams, the Twitters in a way that really helps your business?
I think that's part of the reason why we did this merger. The relationship that Group 9 has with Snapchat, Facebook et al. Has always been absolutely amazing. And the amount of money that those companies are sharing with us is shows me that those platforms need companies like us, like Now This. They need the Dodo. They need POPSUGAR creating this awesome content. The conversation that we're having with them now around POPSUGAR Fitness, what we're doing with Dodo around optimism, makes us feel very warm inside about how they look at our content and how important we are to them. And we spend a ton of time on that. We did the merger, back in November, and the whole COVID thing happened, and we're supposed to launch a Snapchat channel for POPSUGAR late in the summer. We launched it essentially 2 weeks after COVID hit, just when we were launching the fitness stuff, because they were yearning for our fitness channel, our fitness content up there. So, I think it's a really great symbiotic relationship, and it's critical to our success.
Great. One more, and you gave me breadcrumbs from it early on, but you talked about the relationship between content and commerce. It should be noted that among most of your peers, almost no one ever does. And I'll give you a little personal history on that, and then we'll go from there. When I was young and spry, we acquired CNET for CBS, and the first trip we went was up to see the good folks at Amazon and said, "Hey, we did it. We've got product reviews. Wouldn't you love that on your site?" And they looked at us like, we don't have the pixels to afford to go to that, i.e. there's something going on in commerce that you content guys don't understand. And I don't think it's ever really been cracked in terms of how do you keep this relationship? How do you go? And I know in traditional media, the idea is obvious would be, you got a car ad on television. Wouldn't it be great to click the remote and buy the car? Literally that simple in an interactive world. You've always been strong on that, on the investments you make, on the deals you do, and the capabilities and apps that you acquire around, and the tech platforms you build around your content. Talk a little about it, because it's subtle, and I think it's important for this audience to hear. Other than that, you can try to do that in about a minute and a half. Give them back the time.
I mean, the best example I have is, when we started POPSUGAR, it was amazing how much traffic we were sending to retailers, and I wanted to monetize that, through affiliate, et cetera, but I wanted to do it in a way that was big. I found a small little startup called ShopStyle back in 2007. I tried to buy them. They said no. I tried to buy them again. They said no. I then did a big deal with NBC, getting a much higher valuation. I went back to Andy and I said, let's do this, and convinced him. And we acquired ShopStyle back in 2007. And, we drove over $1 billion in GMV throughout the year, every year. And it was quite amazing. And then Rakuten made us an offer that we couldn't refuse back in 2016. And we sold that. That was an awesome example of running content to commerce. We're currently working on something that's, in alpha mode at Group 9. We call it LIALI, which stands for Love It or Leave It. But we think there's an opportunity. All these great direct-to-consumer brands are getting started. The only way you find out about them is maybe an Instagram ad. We want to have an amazing place for you to discover all these new direct-to-consumer brands.
Brian, it's always a pleasure to have you and have a conversation with you. Tribe Dynamics, thank you for having us both. Brian, I'm going to let you get back to making lunch for any number of your 3 children and dealing with your dog and soon-to-be 2. Is that breaking news for this? There you go. Exclusive right there. Another dog in the Sugar household. Thank you guys all so much. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.